Hi everybody, welcome to Amy Nolte Music. Have you ever been playing along on a tune and you're doing just fine until you get to a certain chord symbol and it freaks you out for a second and you think, I can't play this one, I've got to skip it. I mean, if you're in real time and the band's cooking or your play-along's cooking, as the case may be, but you get to that chord and you just freeze because it seems difficult. I want to show you today how to turn those difficult chords in your mind into something much easier, simply by using the concept of tritone substitution. I want to show you about it. I'm anxious to dive into it, so let's go over to the piano and do it. Let's take a look at the tune Beautiful Love. This is in D minor, and I'll show you the changes right now. You're doing fine, you're playing along, like I said, everything's going well. Maybe you've got a play along on and you're just grooving and playing and you think all these chords, they're manageable, I've got them. But you get to the end and something happens. Right here, you see a B7, and for a second, you might just freeze because B is hard. I don't know if that happens to you, but it's happened to me before. You see a chord like B7, and you think, I'm just gonna skip it, and you go to the next one. Like that, and you just go straight to the B flat 7. Well, I mean, it was right here. It was right next to it. If you know your thirds and sevens, it's a lot easier to navigate your way through changes, especially because of what I'm about to show you. Check it out. If you notice that a chord is difficult for you, I'm gonna bet you $100 that chord can be flipped in your mind to all of a sudden be easy. And you can do it with a tritone substitution. The third and 7 of B7 just happen to be the exact same as the third and 7 of F7. They're the same thing. So if you're playing Beautiful Love and you get to that B7 chord, if you can just tell yourself, hey, B7, same as F7, and you know your F7, third and 7, and maybe you even know a really hip chord for F7 or an even hipper chord for F7. Tell you what, both of those chords sound great as a B7 chord as well as an F7 chord. They just have a slightly different context. So let's hear how it would sound if I'm coming around playing Beautiful Love. Here we go with the first one. Now you could just do that, just play the third and 7, and that would be fine. And even like that. Check out how nicely each of those thirds and 7s go together. B7, B flat 7, A7, and then D. Or if you want to put the 6 in there like I just did for a second. But I mean, they just flow. That's the way music theory works a lot of times. All right, if I play the melody up an octave, we can try another one of those voices. What was the first one we did? We did this F7 voicing. 3, 13, flat 7, and 9 in F, but 7, sharp 9, 3, and sharp 5 in B. Ooh, how hip is that? Whew! Then maybe here. Ooh, so hip, right? That sounded great. It's really, really nice. Let's try the other one. Now, this was the easy chord in F7. I think it's the easier one of the two that I tried. It's, like I said, 3, 13, flat 7, and 9. But the more difficult one in F7 that I'm talking about today is 3, sharp 5, flat 7, and sharp 9. If you check that out in B, it's now the flat 7, the 9, the 3, and the 13. Isn't that amazing? Let's go back to the other one really quickly. So this chord that was extra hip when we're playing it as F7 becomes extra vanilla when we play it as a B7 chord. Same exact voicing, different root note, different mindset. What about the other one? The other one was here, right? This one is extra vanilla. I mean, not extra, but more vanilla than with the sharp 5 and sharp 9. We've just got 13 and 9 and 3rd and 7 going on, right? But if we do the same thing with the B at the bottom, it becomes the same as that other chord we just talked about. We've got 3 and 7, but we've got sharp 9 and sharp 5. So let's try the other one this time as we come around. D minor, B7, but instead of doing this one, this time we're going to do the other one. We have to try it with the melody to see if it works. I think that one of these notes might clash with the melody, but it works as B7 for sure. Yeah, I was right. The melody note is a D, and both of these notes are on either side of it, so it's no good in that context. So we can throw that one out the window, but we can hold on to the other one, because this one is just right. I like it just like that. Let's talk about other chords in the same way. Now, the thumbnail for this video tells you about how D flat 7 is just the same as G7, right? There they are. G as a root note, D flat as a root note. It's a tritone substitution, and it works beautifully. We've got this is a tritone and this is a tritone. If you'd like, I have another video about tritone substitutions. Actually, a few. Just search for my name and the word tritone and they will come up, if this is a little advanced for you. But it's the same kind of thing. If you see a D flat 7 chord and it throws you for a loop, if you can just say to yourself, hey, it's not D flat, it's G, that fixes it. At least it does for me. I mean, you have to keep in mind the things that we just talked about with Beautiful Love, like what's the melody note? Is it going to clash? And the context that the chord is being played in. But for the most part, I mean, with 3rds and 7s, you're always going to be able to do that. So if you see a D flat and you think, that's really hard, just say it's G7 and play the 3rd and 7 and you're going to get past that chord. Then you can go back and work on the nitty gritty of it like we just did. So let's work on G7 for a second. We've got the 3rd and the 7. Let's do the more vanilla sounding chord voicing, which is with the 13 and the 9. And let's try it over D flat 7. Now, what do we have? Flat 7, sharp 9, 3, and sharp 5. Right? The exact same voicing that was vanilla here becomes spicy here. So let's remember these numbers right now. 3, 7, sharp 9, sharp 5. And do the same thing in G. 3, 7, sharp 9, sharp 5. Now we're spicy in G, or G7, and vanilla in D flat 7. See how it works? Now you just, after you figure those things out, the only thing to worry about is what's the context I'm playing in, what might the bass player do, and what is the melody. Make sure that it doesn't clash. But any of those chords that I talked about, E7, it's the same as B flat 7. B7, it's the same as F7. F sharp 7. There's your 3rd and 7. What are those the same as? Yeah, C, right? C is a tritone away from that F sharp. How easy is that? If you see F sharp 7, it's C7. So cool. And the last one, if we keep going, was D flat, and it's the same as G7. Let's go one more around the circle of fourths and land on A flat. A flat, 7, it's the same as D7. Isn't it a cool trick? Just a quick little trick like that can switch everything in your mind and make what seemed very difficult actually very manageable. I hope this was helpful for you. Thank you so much for watching and for subscribing to my channel, and pressing the like button, leaving a comment if it was helpful for you. I always appreciate those things. I'll see you next time on Amy Nolte Music.